in with you. You know, it's legitimate, it's plausible as the Bharat Jodo Yatra ends today to ask what is it achieved? What has been its biggest accomplishment or its biggest failures?
You know, I think that's a good question, and I think you put down very well, very succinctly some of the strengths and disadvantages of this Bharat Jodo Yatra. The big strength or the big gain, I think, is that it's given the Congress some kind of an ideological compass to work on. This has been a party that for the longest time has got completely de-ideologized, and that's one of the reasons why it's been so vulnerable to defections, to breakups. I think Rahul Gandhi's Yatra gave a platform in a way to ideological forces who felt that they didn't have the space to truly express themselves, represent themselves. And yes, as a result, also has given Rahul Gandhi, in a sense, that kind of an ideological image, if you want to call it, which he clearly lacked. There was a pappufication of Rahul Gandhi that had taken place for the longest time, and the BJP had driven that message home. So from that point of view, from a Rahul Gandhi point of view, and indeed from perhaps a growing respect that the Congress cadres now have for Rahul Gandhi, it's been an advantage. That's the biggest gain. The biggest minus, I think, came from what you also said today, is that at the end of the day, the Congress is a political party. It's not an NGO. So it's going to have to translate this ideological fervor into organizational strength, into being able to become a magnet for opposition unity possibly, and more importantly, to make itself more electable. And I'm not sure that the Yatra has yet given that kind of a clear positive narrative that will enable the Congress in a way to move forward electorally. That's the question mark, and therefore to that extent, I think one has to wait and see whether the Yatra can translate some of the enthusiasm of Congress cadres in particular into something more substantial when it comes to elections. So, that's to my mind the big gain and the possible failing of the Yatra.
You know, I want to, Rahul, before I come to you, I want to bring in Maushmi. Maushmi and Supriya have been two reporters who've practically clocked in over 3,000 kilometers of what this 4,000 trek is. So before I cut across to Maushmi, I believe there's a problem with her link. Supriya, I'm going to pull you in, very quickly encapsulate Supriya for you as you walked along. I would reckon for a reporter who's covered the Congress, what was missing earlier was a cadre that was energized, that was enthused. What was missing is maybe the Congress would have wanted a mass movement of sorts that this Yatra would have enabled. That did not quite happen. But what happened was enough to get the cadre going, like we saw Supriya with their flag in the hand and walking, trudging through snow, some through 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers to reach the stadium today.
Well, I will not completely agree with what you are saying, because the cadre came out in large number, yes, but then people also joined in. In Madhya Pradesh, what we saw was unprecedented, Preeti, because there it was a BJP-ruled state and it was the first state of the Hindi heartland, and people in large number came out, especially those of the BJP supporters, and they joined in. See, what has happened here is this Yatra was the initial narrative was very smartly built up around unemployment and price rise. Yes, these two are big issues, and right from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, even here also, we have met so many youngsters and people who are worried about the unemployment, who want about the unemployment situation, and second thing being that of the price rise. Now, I think this is just the beginning. Well, Congress is in a transition phase. It is like one thing which I have seen is, in this entire thing is, earlier what used to happen was there were all these stalwart leaders, all these big shots who used to be there in the Little Delhi, the so-called general secretaries and in charges, and people across the country, especially the cadre, used to come all the way to Delhi. Now this is the new change that Rahul Gandhi has ushered in, that everybody is going to go to the people, they're going to go, the Delhi ka darbar will go to Janta ka doorstep. That was the entire idea which I felt had happened. Okay. There they were reaching out, yes. One thing is there, that when the Yatra was crisscrossing, it has left many important states, which is like Bihar, which is like Uttar Pradesh, and it is said that the roads to the Delhi's throne or to the past citadels goes through these areas also.
Okay.
So they have to work out. The biggest challenge now before the Congress party is that yes, they are popular, they have done this yatra, but now comes the big challenge to convert this popularity into electoral votes, because in this very year we have 10 very crucial elections.
The proof of the
assembly
pudding would
elections,
be in
and
its
then mother of
eating,
all
and
battles.
ultimately 3 states tear you down in less than a month's time, and then you have Karnataka, and then the party's practically begun as a run-up to 2024. You have 9 states which will go into elections in this entire year.